All right, what's up, y'all? Back again for another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. Tonight, we welcome back my man from Torture Chamber, Reese, King of the North. What's good, man?
What's going on, man?
What's good? What's good? So tonight we're talking about another controversy around the Drake. It just seems like Drake, this controversy just continues to go on with the UMG case, the battle that's over, it's not over, the victimhood rap, all of that. So now it seems like more people are coming to Drake's defense now. And some notable rappers now, well, not notable rappers, but a rapper from the Dreamville crew named Bass. I don't know if you're really familiar with him. I listen to some of his music. He's kind of all right. He's not anything big, but all of a sudden Bass came back at Ebro after Ebro made some statements on his podcast, his hip hop podcast about Drake, where I'm paraphrasing now. He mentioned that Drake is not important to the hip hop culture and represents a sickness in the industry. But before we get to Bass's comeback against those comments, what are your comments on that comment per se? What do you think Ebro was alluding to? Because I perfectly understand where he's coming from, and I don't see, even though it's his opinion, I don't see anything wrong with it.
You could take this two different ways, in my opinion. I think that what he's trying to say, by saying Drake is a sickness, basically saying like, well, Drake is popular for all the wrong reasons for hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hip hop is known for a certain element of bars and beats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But see, I do have a problem with that statement. I agree with a good portion of it, but I do have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I think that it only applies to Drake because Drake is not American. And I'll explain that further.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Point. Yeah.
Because I put it to you like this. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit later. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the not important portion of it, I think that kind of speaks to maybe the Canadian aspect of maybe he's not important to American culture like that. But I think the not important, you could take this so many different ways. I took it as, well, if Drake were to retire now, hip hop would go on. You know, we don't really need Drake in the hip hop circle per se. Or if Drake were to do something like just be an R&B artist or Afro beats artist or whatever, you know, that's cool. Hip hop is going to survive. But I mean, I agree with you. Like, it could be taken so many different ways.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's one that he has an opinion to. And if he feels that way, he feels that way. You know what I mean? It's not a situation where, oh, he's out of line for saying that. I mean, if that's his opinion about the culture, that's his opinion about the culture. But I want to stress the culture because we're going to get to Bass's comments, and I'm going to put, as I pull that up, hold on a minute. Let me share my screen here before we read Bass's comments as I have it now. But before I get to that, I think the culture is important because I think what Bass is trying to do now is I think he's trying to twist the narrative a little bit as to what culture really means. And I think when we really talk about it, I think hip hop culture means, you know, hip hop, 5 elements of hip hop, you know, rap, bars, you know what I mean? Creative songs, being creative to push the culture forward and be innovative and creative. I think he's trying to take this in a different way. And I think by doing this, he's trying to twist the narrative as to what Drake really is. And I just want to get your take. We're going to take this piece by piece, Reese, because there's a lot in here, right?
Mhm.
So Baz comes back at the previous comments on Ebro that my 2 cents, Ebro, Drake is among the most, if not most, inclusive of artists, excuse me, of our culture has put forth. Pushed countless rappers to the forefront, dancehall artists, Afrobeats artists, R&B artists, reggaeton artists, older artists, newer artists, etc. I want to stop it right there because I got to get your take on this. Is he really inclusive on putting the culture and pushing the culture forward here?
See, that's a tricky one because people give Drake a lot of credit for a number of reasons, but at the same, it's kind of like because Drake featured with somebody, he made their career. I think that is
Exactly.
that's very disingenuous. You
Speak
can't
on that.
say because I featured you, I made you. Because you don't do that with Jay-Z. You don't do that with artists that are actually bigger than him.
Exactly
Eminem,
right.
you do that with Eminem. Eminem, so you say Eminem made 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? Because Eminem was much bigger than 50 Cent when he signed him and he had him on songs and he had him on his album. You get what I'm saying? So it's like only with Drake, to me, it seems like artists always does this. It's like, okay, what reggaeton artist did Drake make big? Can you
See, the
name me?
reggaeton, exactly right. Because he only really featured with one, and that was Bad Bunny. And Bad Bunny, he asked Bad Bunny to come to his record, not the other way around. But I
Bad
want
Bunny
to
is
get back, yeah, I want to get back to this point about uh, putting artists on or pushing
yeah.
artists to the forefront. I think that's really, really tricky what Drake does because, and I'll speak about this in another video I do in the in the which one review that I do, because in the end of the day, what Drake does is when an artist starts to blow up and get big and start their own movement. He did this with Future. He did this with Lil Baby. He did this with 21 Savage. Remember, he did an album with 21 Savage. And now the new guy that he's doing it with is Central C. When he sees that artist getting a little movement and a little motion out, motion out there in the game, all of a sudden now Drake wants to start featuring him on his album. But see, it's not, I don't think, to push the culture forward. I think Drake wants to get juice off of this artist to keep his momentum going
Mhm.
and to increase, his fan base, almost like he's taking somebody else's fan base. You know what I mean? He did
Yeah.
this. I mean, Future was a classic example of this. Is when Future really started to blow in the mid 2010s. All of a sudden, Drake wanted to do an album with this guy. He wants to capitalize off the other artist's momentum and make that his, and then take credit for it. That he's the one doing them a favor when they really don't need this guy.
Yeah. I would say that a good portion of people they criticize Jay-Z for doing something similar. People always said Jay-Z was a wave rider. He
Wave
was
rock, yeah,
taking
a
it
wave
on
stealer.
to stay relevant. Jay-Z was bigger than these artists that he was working with. And it's like, oh well, he's only doing this so he can stay relevant because people forget about him. But when it comes to Drake, it's like, oh well, he made this artist's career, and he
Exactly.
to me, it's just nasty work for people to do that. You know what I'm saying? I will
Yeah.
say, like, the thing about this whole thing, this whole notion that Drake is, to me, okay, he helped some artists, but for the most part, I think the artists help him more than he helped them.
Thank you. Absolutely right.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Because I think a lot of these artists, see, Drake is not a street dude. Drake's never been a street dude.
Great point.
When Drake first came out, he was you the best dude. He was a simp rapper. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. He was the simp rapper. now Drake is a thug. He's a thug now. All of these guys he hung with, they are street dudes. They always been street dudes. It was nothing different. They always been street. Some of them maybe not, but a good portion of them, they always been heavy in the streets. He wasn't. His whole thing changed. It flipped. So I think that he used them to become who he is today. Drake is essentially a thug now. He's not a thug and actually in real life.
He's a wannabe thug.
He's a wannabe thug. But he's convincing to people who don't really know him.
I think Future is the best example of that. And I remember when before they were going on tour, and I remember Funkmaster Flex brought this up on a broadcast. Drake needed Future because Drake needed to transition to more of a street audience. Right before that album, if you remember, we're going back 2013, 2012 or what have you. This was right after the Control verse, and Kendrick kind of mopped him up on that BET freestyle. So Drake at that time, he was kind of, like you said, a simp rapper, but he needed Future for the streets. He needed to get into that type of trap. And if you remember, trap back then was kind of had more of a street, hood element to that, before a lot of these guys really started, harmonizing. So he needed Future to get that image, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when he did that, he kind of grew as an artist, because now a lot of those trap fans who were of Atlanta trap, all of a sudden they became Drake fans now. But see, Future didn't need him to blow up. Future was going to blow regardless. He was already big. And I think that's a prime example of this, man. And he's doing it now. Now his latest, if you want to call it victim, is Central C, because he's not the new hot dude in the industry. He's a hot up and coming guy. He's got a nice little album out. He's got a following with the ladies, et cetera, et cetera. And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he wants to big up UK rappers as they're the greatest rappers of all time. When out of nowhere, I mean, that was easily a setup just to pump up Central C, so he could bring him on his album and blow him up on this single, which really ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing. But he's just using Central C just for that energy.
Well, he has ran out of people to run to.
That's right.
Because all the people, I put it to you like this: Drake, I'm not gonna say he hates American artists now, but he's not on good terms with most of them. Some of them are, but they can't do nothing for him now. So he's not gonna do nothing with Future. He definitely ain't doing nothing with Kendrick. He definitely ain't doing nothing with nobody. And J. Cole, I think J. Cole's scared to come outside right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think he's scared to come outside. Because I did a video on Kendrick is waiting for J. Cole to come. That's who he's going after next. But that's another story. What I'm saying about Drake is he's looking for someone. He's looking for a new wave to ride, because exactly like a lot of his music now ain't really resonating no more, because he don't have any waves to ride anymore. Everybody, I would say this, and I know people might disagree with me on this. Drake has been used up by everybody. It's not the other way around. People will say Drake used everybody up. No, I think people use Drake up. He don't have to offer anybody no more.
That's why I don't understand where Bass is coming from, because he's trying to flip it as he was the one that made these guys, where it's the other way around. And at the same time, he mentions Afrobeats artists, R&B artists, reggaeton, older artists, newer artists. First of all, Afrobeats, R&B, and reggaeton, this has nothing to do with hip hop. Dancehall the same way. That has nothing to do with hip hop. They are subgenres of hip hop. And if Drake does a reggaeton song or dancehall song, that really doesn't blow up hip hop and rap artists. Okay, why doesn't he do a song with Griselda then? Why doesn't he do a song with Rome Streets? Why doesn't he do a song with those artists? Those are rappers. You don't see him bigging up them. They mentioned older artists that he's put to the forefront. Where was he on the Carter 6? How come he didn't help out his homie Lil Wayne? He needed that push. I mean, he's there to push older artists to the forefront and push their careers. Where was that assist for Lil Wayne on Carter 6, which flopped? So, I mean, this statement by him, just to start, is totally debunked. I don't know what you think about that.
I definitely think that that's a real bad statement to make, because what old artist did he really put on?
Exactly.
Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what artist did he put on? But what really bothers me about when people say stuff like this is, I think that a lot of people really don't mess with Drake no more.
Yeah.
And I think this is the reason why he's pivoted towards the UK. Because I think a lot of those artists, I think nobody really wants to work with him like that no more. Or at least they don't want to work with him because of the situation he's in with Kendrick. But as far as what he's saying, I don't believe that he should be mentioning these things, knowing that Drake didn't really do all that. And I think he just said that because that's a talking point that I think people always put in Drake's corner, that Drake did this for so many artists. Really? Did he really? Like,
but you know what? Yeah.
No, go ahead.
You know what I think it shows though? It goes to show that people really don't listen to the music anymore. Because if they really were into hip hop and did their research and they really listen to Central C and listen to Future and listen to Lil Baby, kind of before Drake got around to them, they would know, yo, they had their own thing going on. They had their own style going on. People just go and notice these artists or what have you only, and this is how you could tell most of these people that believe this shit are casual fans, because they only listen to songs with these guys, with Drake, even though despite those guys have their own movement whatsoever already. Mm-hmm. So now it's like they're only listening to him because they know they're Drake stans and they only know of when they jump on songs with Drake. That's the only group that this applies to, this statement. Because if you knew these artists, even like, okay, reggaeton, he was on one song with Bad Bunny, right? Well, 2 songs. But Drake wanted to have him on a song. That's what it is, man. Like, it's not the other way around. And Bad Bunny already was a mega superstar globally. So yeah, I don't get that. Let's move on here. So he goes on to say, I don't get this culture narrative that's persisted since the battle. If it's the Canadian thing, Toronto, an hour flight from NYC, LOL. I'd argue their culture and ethnic makeup is more akin to NYC than pretty much any city in the States. NYC, Toronto, London are the triumvirate culturally. So I got to understand, what the hell does that mean? What is the cultural triumvirate? Toronto, New York, London, what does that got to do with the price of tea in China? You know what I mean? Like, okay, they're very ethnically diverse cities. I've been to all 3 cities, so yeah, I get it. But what does that have to do with hip hop music?
That's a stupid statement. Like, listen, bro. Like, so you basically saying, like, I'm gonna put it like this, bro. I that right there is really a dig more at what Kendrick said on Euphoria, saying you run to America because you need a check balance.
Exactly.
I think that's more of a dig to Kendrick than actually bigging up Drake. I think that what he's basically trying to say is, well, there's black people in Toronto, so there's no big difference. It's no big difference. New York and Toronto is not that far from me. They actually walking distance. It's like, come on, bro.
When Kendrick Lamar had the much bigger show than Drake ever had in Toronto, mind you.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So I think what he's saying here is like, why are we saying Drake's not a part of the culture when he's from Toronto? In Toronto, they move like Americans. It's like, I just don't get that. I don't get it.
I think he's trying to twist culture and trying to make culture like an ethnic, racial thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
More than hip hop culture.
Yeah,
None
exactly.
of these statements have anything to do with hip hop, and that's what Ebro's talking about. So, but this is the last one we got to get to, right? And this is the one that kind of takes the cake with all of this. Surely it's not his pen. He's arguably the greatest writer of a generation. So what is it? So, all right, I'll just leave the floor for you.
Yo, that
I
is
just leave the floor open, bro. You tell me.
that's
What you think
gaslight
about that?
101 right there, bro. I'm telling you, I ain't never in my life seen somebody say when they know for a fact that Drake has ghostwriters, it's on record that he has ghostwriters. It's not like, okay. And then when people say stuff like, well, he wrote for this person, he wrote for that person. Let's not act like Drake is Quincy Jones. You know what I'm saying? Let's not act like Drake is Smokey Robinson. Like, okay, Drake might have wrote a hook for somebody, but that's it. He ain't really like, did Drake write numerous hits for people? I'm talking like R. Kelly. And I know people hate R. Kelly, but R. Kelly wrote hits for everybody.
Oh my
You know
God.
what I'm saying? You can't say that. And then on top of that, if that's the case, then why does he have so many ghosts? Drake literally had ghostwriters for the battle. Like he literally had people help him write. Daylight wrote back to back.
Just
He
look all
wrote
the writing credits. Yeah.
for Meek Mill, and that's Drake's best diss track was wrote by somebody else. And it's to me like
And how many Quentin Miller hits were written
we could
and
go down
collabed on?
literally wrote for this dude. And then on top of that, we ain't even talking about the songs he actually took from people. They ain't right, he actually took it. You know what I'm saying? We
like
hotline
Forte beef. I remember when rapping Forte, he took something from them. I mean,
bro, you saying that he has arguably one of the greatest pens of all. That's a slap to the face, bro. It really is. When you know for a fact that he does not right. That's why I laugh at that. Like some of these people, they be oblivious on purpose because they want to be noticed. It's like, okay, I'm gonna say this. He has one of the greatest pens of all time. When you know that this man has ghostwriters, like, come on, bro, cut it out, cut it out. Like, no, I don't agree with that at all.
and if we're really gonna go there, I mean, it's not like he writes these creatively intricate songs. You know what I mean? And I mean, he simps in most of his songs about women. I mean, he tells some decent stories that he does write. You know what I mean? And he's got some bars that he comes off of here and there. I mean, I like the timestamp series that he does, like the 8 a.m. in Toronto and all of that. But it's not like your shit hasn't been done before. I mean, he's a decent writer, but the greatest of a generation. Now, see, that's a slap. That's a slap at Kendrick Lamar. That is a dig at Kendrick Lamar 100% right there. Because if anything, he needs to get the writing credit for this generation, you know, the 2010s generation of rappers and MCs.
Yeah, I don't understand how he would even put great in the same sentence with Drake when it comes to writing anything. Like I think that Drake does have great records when it comes to his timestamp records. And even with some of those, you don't really know if he actually did that or not. I think it's very telling that a lot of these artists, I believe that a lot of them say things now because I feel like some of them feel like they kind of gotta feel like they have to defend Drake on certain things. Oh, you going a little bit too far. I gotta defend Drake on this. It's like I don't really know what to even say about that last quote. I just think that that's one of the biggest gaslight. It's crazy.
That now see. That actually makes me want to defend Ebro because that's a disrespect to hip hop fans. If you're a real hip hop fan, you know what Drake is about with the ghostwriters and the ghost collaborators, the reference tracks, and all of that. We know what's going on. Don't try and insult our intelligence and say he's the greatest writer of our generation. You know what I mean? It's just disrespectful. Another angle that I want to talk to you about is, okay, this is a Dreamville guy. He's in J. Cole's camp. And ever since like Port Antonio, I've kind of been like up in the air. Like, what is J. Cole's real angle? But I'm almost getting the vibe like J. Cole and his camp is kind of trying to like cater to Drake for whatever reason. And I don't get it. It's almost like they're trying to low-key spite Kendrick. Because I almost took some of Bass's comments as somewhat like a little backhanded slap towards Kendrick, especially with the greatest writer of that generation comment. I don't know what your take is on that.
I don't know what's going on with J. Cole and Drake. I know they're not probably on good terms. And the reason why I say that is because J. Cole in Puerto Antonio, he said, I don't care what they say, Drake, you always be my nigga. It must have been some type of conversation that happened between them two.
Yeah.
Or he feels as though that Drake feels like, because I believe the reason why that is because J. Cole did a song with Daylight. And you know, Daylight is close to Kendrick.
Yeah.
Since Daylight is close to Kendrick, Drake probably felt some type of way about that. And that's why he did that whole, I don't care what they say, you'll always be my nigga. But see, the problem with that is he pointed out that to Drake, but Kendrick never did anything wrong to you. Kendrick never did anything wrong. That's why I think Kendrick is so frustrated with J. Cole more than Drake, because before that, he really didn't do that. But I think that the whole camp over there, maybe they got something coming up with Drake. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't think Drake has anybody on this Iceman album except for maybe some UK artists. I don't think he has no Americans on this album.
Yeah, I agree with that one right there.
But I think maybe some of these, and I believe this is the same thing Game did, is some of these people just covering their bases just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case Drake falls at number one again. He said, oh, see, the boy's back. And it's like, yeah, I was always on your side. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they really waiting for. They waiting for that. They waiting for him to bounce back. So they can be like, yeah, I was always on your side, Drake. You know, you was always my boy. It's like, I think that's what they're waiting for. And I think some people is better be safe than sorry when it comes to Drake.
I got in a debate in an internet chat room, not a chat room, but a hip hop blog. Dude came out with a post and said, you watch, the next Drake album is going to be the highest selling album in his career. He's going to blow up. You watch. And I said to the dude, I said, I'm willing to bet he has the lowest selling total in his first week in his solo career for a solo album. And dude was like, all right, well, we'll see. I was like, all right, yeah, we will see. Because the way the trajectory is going now, especially with the reception of the first two singles,
yeah.
And then on top of that, you're really not going to have a lot of US features. And I don't see this being a big record. I mean, maybe it does what Sexy Songs for You did, which I think was like 230,000 in the first week. Maybe it does like 200K, but I'll be shocked if it does anything big. I really think we've seen the best of Drake, really, as far as him being at his peak as an artist.
I think that if this album does do well, it's out of curiosity. I think a lot of people want to.
Yeah.
People was, even though it was some Sexy Songs for You, people ran to that album to see if he talked about Kendrick, and he did. He said something about Kendrick on the album. I think people are going to run to this album because they want to see if he's going to address the whole. Because Drake still hasn't addressed his loss, and that's what people are waiting for. They're waiting to hear what he has to say about this loss. Like what? Like why? How did you really take this, Drake? How did you take this loss? That's what people are waiting for.
Well, what did I miss is kind of like that. That's kind of tells you how he took the loss.
He's definitely gonna go a little bit deeper than that. Trust me, it's gonna be damn near almost him crying. He's gonna go deeper than that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Drake at this point, he's forced to do this. He has no other outlet. He can't do nothing else. He has to explain himself because the singing ain't gonna do it for him. You see this guy, Kendrick Lamar, is going on a world tour. He ain't going on just no US tour. He's going on the world stage. He did the most stadiums. Kendrick did the most stadiums in history of any rapper. He's surpassed, I believe, 30 stadiums now. So he's done the most stadiums out of all rappers. So he's going on a world tour, and people saying that Kendrick Lamar at this point is much bigger than Drake. He's doing 80,000 people right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that if his album do well, it's because people are curious about what he has to say. But it's the second week that you got to pay attention to when it comes to Drake.
Yeah.
Because the second week is going to tell you whether people like it or not. And usually with Drake's music, it goes just like this. It goes like this, then it falls off. Because he don't have no staying power no more in his music.
Exactly.
All of his songs dropped off.
With the first two singles of this Iceman.
And you notice he took Nokia as if it's his own single, even though it was on that album, Sexy. He took that as if it was his own single. And everybody thought, I believe that even Nokia, I like what's the name better than Nokia. I like What Did I Miss? I like it better than Nokia.
I agree with that.
But Nokia is more of a hit than What Did I Miss, and that still didn't go far. It went to number 2 anyway.
I can't stand Nokia, and it's way better than that Which One nonsense. That was
Which One is trash. That's a trash song.
That's horrible. That is a horrible record.
And you know another thing too, I think where Drake is running into a problem at, he did mention the lyric thing, which he should have stood on. He should have after What I Miss, he should have did a lyrical song with someone.
Exactly.
They should have been spitting. Where Drake is messing up at, he's still doing dance music, and rap is not even in that position anymore. Everybody is
vibe anymore.
Hardcore. Like all of these albums that just dropped, even the Tyler album that just dropped, it might be dance, but it's still bars on there. People are looking for that. They're not looking for you in Central C to talk about mendom and girls and all that stuff. Nobody cares for that, man.
Mendom.
Like for real, nobody cares. And I think that's what he's running into a problem at.
They don't want to hear another fake accent.
Nah, they don't. He's running into that. I think believe it or not, here's where you see that Drake is not real hip hop. Because if he was, he'll be able to weather this. He'll be like, you know what? All right, I'll just rap with y'all niggas.
Where he would see if he really had a quote pen game to fall back on, he can do that and go back and and do something creative song wise instead of just going back to the same formula, hoping that something sticks to the wall.
Like listen to the Clips album. Listen to Alfredo too. Listen to a bunch of other people, and then you go and listen to What Did I Miss, and you realize that Drake is complaining about a battle that happened a year ago
that he's suing over.
Are rapping their ass off. They're making classics, even if it's not a number one hit. It's what people want to hear, but he's not doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the biggest issue he's running into, right there. He just can't keep up.
It's sad, man. But anyway, y'all tell us what you think. Do you think Bash's rebuttal to Ebro was justified, or is Ebro justified in this? Definitely, it's a controversial topic. Drake, we will see with Iceman. Once the Iceman album drops, that will be his judgment day, really. So we shall see. We shall see. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks, Reese, for joining me again. We got some new content coming up in the next week, so stay tuned for that. And enjoy the rest of y'all evening, all right? Peace.